Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. Today I've got my project for the Ink Stamp Share blog hop, and this is my prototype, which I shared on social media, and people liked it and they wanted me to do a tutorial, so I am. So I was doing this. This is retired celebration paper from last year's celebration, and I always wanted to use the black and whites side of it to make a little mini album. So these are they'll hold 6x4 photos. So I wanted it to be quite big, so it's like 5x7 each sheet, and then there's photo mats inside 3 of the pages, so you've got 3 of those big photo mats. You could put them going that way instead of the sideways, but I actually quite like it the side. So, and then I've alternated these pockets to be one on the side and one down here, and again we've got those pockets there, and this punch and that punch are actually retiring, which is a shame because I think they work really well for projects like this, for edging the pockets and that. And then I've used a cardstock cover for it, so it's sort of quite nice and sturdy. So I'm going to show you how I made this. So the papers that I sort of picked out to use with this album are the woven threads. Now I got these when they were free during celebration. I always fancied them, and I always thought I'd make some sort of mini album with them. So I just love the papers. I just think they're really beautiful patterns, and I like the way they're sort of vintagey with some shading, washed out sort of aged bits. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the one side, and then these are the reverse side, which are a little bit more sort of solid. So it's all the in colours from 2019, 2021, plus Sahara Sand and Whisper White. So, and I feel I haven't used that palette very much, so absolutely adore this colour. So I'm going to pick out the sheets I want to use, and you can use sort of 4 sheets, so 2 are the same, so you could use 2 of those and 2 of those, or like I did 4 completely different sheets for the other one. And because I made 5x7 pages and I didn't do any folding, because I didn't do it on the black and white one because the other side was colourful, and on this one I just don't think that they would look that good. So it's about thinking about which sheets would form really good pockets. I mean, these would make pockets well on their own, but actually that sheet would in fact probably look better with pockets over them. And these two go together quite well, making pockets with these two. So I probably use those two. And as these are that sort of colourway, I might make it out of those 4. I really like Pretty Peacock, but that's the only sheet other than these 2 that have got Pretty Peacock in them. So I save these for another project, I am thinking. Okay, so that's my papers picked out, so let's cut them down to size. So you're going to use 4 sheets, and the offcuts from each 4 sheet is going to be used for the pockets. Now these 2 don't really have a direction to them, so it doesn't really matter how you cut them. But these 2, you've got to decide if you want the diamonds going that way on the page or that way on the page. I want it to be consistent, so I think I'm going to go both for those 2 being that way. And you're going to cut each piece, 10 by 5. Not even that, it's 10 by 7. So each page is going to be 7 by 5. So if that's going to be the 10, I want to cut this to 7. So, and that is the length of my page. I chose this size because it would take a 6 by 4 photograph really well. And then you've got this nice big offcut, which, depending on which one you chose for your cover, you've got a sheet then for the front and the back, whichever one you want. So it's not wasted. So then this is going to be cut at 10, and then that does a pocket, and we're going to score at 5. And that's going to be folded that way. And that's going to form our pages. And this side's not going to get seen at all because they are going to get glued over. So we do that for every sheet. So I'll get these all cut out and ready. So that's all the 4 pages cut out, and then you've got 4 strips of 2 by 7 left over, and you've got 4 strips of 12 by 5. And we won't use all of these offcuts, but we will use some of them. So I'm just gonna give these a burnish. And then we're going to decide the order that the pages are going in. So I've got sort of 2 that match, so it's not those 2. So those 2 I thought would go together, and these 2 will go together in terms of the pockets that mat. And the way I did it was that I put them together like so, so that that paper matted on that one for pockets and that one on that one, and that way. But actually, looking at this, I'd rather change the order. Don't want 2 diamonds together. Quite like that. I think that flows on my eye a little bit better, but I will still use that as a pocket for that. Now you could just use these offcuts and not chop up the big sheets, and just have pockets like that all the way through. That would be one way of doing it, or you can do what I did, which was do one pocket like that, and then one pocket the other way. It's entirely up to you. But before we do that, we need to stick these sheets together. I think it does depend on the paper that you use as to which way round you want to do it. Now, in order to create the pockets between the pages, like so, you need to, when gluing the sheets together, is just glue on the 3 sides. so that that creates a pocket in between the pages. If you wanted the pockets to go out the top, then you'd glue on these 3 sides, but I like it on the side actually, so I'm going to do it, I'm going to carry on and do it that way. So I'm using wet glue, I'm using Tombow. I do recommend wet glue when creating pockets in albums because it dries, and if you use tape they will stick. I was doing this, making this at the weekend on Zoom, and one of my attendees, class attendees, is a tape person. She likes her tape, she's happy with her tape. She didn't have any liquid glue anyway because she doesn't like it, and I said you will find that they will stick. And one of my other class attendees went, "They will, I've done it." And she said, I'll live. And so yeah, so you have your preferences, but I do stress that with a tape you will have some stickiness still there, so it's just something to bear in mind. And because it's thicker, it will change the size of the pockets, the inserts that you make. They will need to be smaller because you'll have the space. I've ended up, that's because I was chatting and not concentrating, so I've ended up changing the order that these pages are going in, but not to worry, that's what happens. I'll love it, whatever. So yeah, oh well. So that's that. So that's all the pages nicely done. So now we're going to stick our pockets down. So we've got these ones cut, and that one goes there. I'm going to put that one there. That one on there. And that one on there. Although I might change them up completely because that goes with that quite well, and maybe put the diamond with the other diamond. Might do it that way. That's a bit different, isn't it? I think they might stand out a little bit better. And I think I will do them all in this way, so then you've got a different look, and you can sort of look and decide yourself. And if you want to not waste too much cardstock and have more left over for, because you can get some nice card fronts on the bit that's left over, it's a better use of your cardstock. So you just glue down all 3 sides. And glue it onto the edge of the page. And we will put something on there to define the edge. we've still got our pocket there as well. So I'll get these finished off getting stuck down. When I went through and stuck those on, I thought I'd done it in time lapse, but I hadn't. So that's all the pockets now connected. And so now to add a cover for this. So I did a cardstock cover for this, so it gave the album quite a lot of rigidity with it, so it will stand up to the test of time that way. So for the cover I'm using thick Whisper White, just to give it a little bit of extra rigidity, and this is 10 3/4 by 7 1/4, and we're going to score at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2, so that we've got a little bit for the spine. And we'll just fold and burnish those bits. Quite hard, and it's only a little 1/4 of an inch gap. There we go. And what we're going to do is you're going to stick one side first, so that is cut so that there is an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, like you were adding a card mat to the front of a card, and it's just glued on the surface area of your book, so there will be no glue down the spine, and that's so that it will be able to fold flat. So make sure you're gluing on the right bit. So we'll just put glue all over the front and the back. You could make another pocket if you wanted to. I'm not. I want it all glued down just to give it a bit of extra strength, because the pages are only glued on 3 sides. So, and I thought there was still plenty of room for photos in this mini album. So just checking that it's got my little border all the way around. Stick that down. Looks slightly off that, but it's fine. There we go. And then to stick on this one, I'm going to put the glue on the book and then fold it in half, but I'm just checking that that looks okay, and it does. So I'm going to apply glue to this and then fold it over like so. Really easy, really quick. Great way to use up cardstock. You get 3 of these out of a pack of 12. I might do some resizing and change them and see how they would be at different sizes. So fold that over, press it down to glue, and then I'm going to open it up, check that that is adhered. All the way, and then it will open flat. You need to show it who's boss and say, I want you to go flat. and it will. Go through and stroke it down. They will go flat down there, like so. And so there is room for a bit of growth, because there will be growth when you put your mats and things in. So then we're going to decorate the front, so decide which pattern you want on the front, and if you want a different one on the back. I quite like these two, so I might use, I quite like that actually as a front cover. I think that's quite cool. So I've decided that I'm going to mat it. I just thought that would look a little bit lost on there, and so I've got some soft sea spray, no, seaside spray. I'm mixing my soft sea foam and my seaside spray up, and so I trimmed this down so that it was 4 3/4 wide, and obviously it's a bit short, so I thought what I might do is cut it up and do a little sort of a stagger, so that we've got a sort of a gap in it. So I thought I might have the gap coming about there, which is going to use my little trimmer, coming about there. So yeah, so 2 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. There. So it's a little bit decorative. I think that quite works. Just something a little bit different. And then I thought I'm going to sort of decorate it, and I want a sort of a sentiment. So I was looking around, and I quite like the Life is a Magnificent Adventure. So if it's going to be like a photo journal, then it is, or photo scrapbook, then you are thinking about life being, you're going to be recording lots of different things that you've enjoyed. So I thought that fitted. And this, one of my favourite sets, and it's retiring. So I've got some seaside spray, got a bit of Whisper White, and I am going to stamp that down. That lent too hard. That's better. And then I thought I would cut it out. I've got the stitch rectangles, and so I've taken the little one from there, and that will just take it out nicely. And then I've taken one of the frames from the ornate, they're not called ornate frames, are they? They're called ornate layers, and my idea is to cut that from the seaside foam, and then that will nest in there quite nicely. So I'll get them cut out, and we'll see how they all look. So I've cut them out, and as you can see, that that fits on there really lovely. That's a really nice book plate, I think. But I laid it on there, and I thought, I'm not sure if I like that with the gaps, so I've cut some pieces, and I think I'm going to change my mind and save the faffing. I'll use them for something else. I thought that makes quite a nice cover, and so that has just been cut to 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then that fits on there nicely. I think that looks much nicer, and I've chosen that one for the back, and I'm not going to mat this one. I've chose this one because it's got a bit of white in it, and that actually fits on there really nicely, so I'm going to leave that as that. And I want some ribbon, so I thought I'd just use some Whisper White ribbon. I have the choice actually between using some soft sea foam, not soft sea foam, seaside spray even, I could use the Whisper White seam binding, or the Whisper White with a bling. I think it's going to be between those two. This was out at Christmas and it's coming back. Quite pretty. I've got loads of this though, I haven't got so much of that. So I think we'll stick with the white, because there's no bling in it, so I don't really want any bling. So we want a ribbon fastening, so I'm just going to use the crinkle seam binding that we've got, which is carrying over, so that's brilliant. So I'm going to take this off for the moment. Check, yep, that's the front, so that's the back, and I stuck my ribbon just to the back, so then it came round the front and tied in a bow, and I sort of left a bit extra so that it could grow. So let's just have a little look. That might be too much extra, because if that's tied in a bow, that's quite a long bit. So let's do slightly less. And then we can work out how much ribbon, because I didn't write down how much ribbon I used on the other one. I think basically on the other one I just used what I had left of that black ribbon. There we go. And then there is room to grow, so I might just take it down a little tad, give myself a little bit extra. So let's see how long this piece of ribbon is. It is, so that's 16, and that's 13, so 16, 26, 27, 20, so that's about 29 inches we've got there. That's going to go around the back. That's it, meeting in the middle, so that is the bit that's going to go across. So I'm going to secure that in place with some tape, and then of course we'll be gluing the gluing this on top as well. So eyeball that to be about the middle. I am on the back cover, yep. Just treble check this bit. Treble check it. So we're at 7 inches, it's going to be 3.5. So around the 3.5 mark. It is actually a little bit higher than I actually want it. Oh, well, actually it needs to be a little bit higher, because it's not 7, is it? I think that's about right. Yeah, that'll do. So we just want to glue this down on top. So we use a bit of Tombow for that. And that's the back, and it's quite nice to have quite like a plainer back on the back of a journal. I might add a little bit of interest on it. If you're into inking edges, you can always ink the edges. Doing a junk journal, I'll just ink everything, all the edges of everything. Get done. So let's turn it around. Yep, that's the right way. That feels slightly below halfway, but that'd be fine. Right, so we're going to glue these two together. I do like this paper. I think it appeals to me, and it's really nice to use the new in colours. Well, then, you know, the 2019, 2021 in colours, because I actually don't feel I've used them very much, and they actually go really nicely together there in this project. I'm really looking forward to the in colours that are coming up in June, the 2020, 2022. They look really nice. Looking forward to being able to order those tomorrow. As a demonstrator, we get to order early so that we can prep projects ready to show you. I'm going to tie this in a bow before I put the book plate on. So I make sure I kind of stick it where I want it. So there we go. So yeah, I think that looks cool. So I'm going to stick this. I stamped it wrong first time. Well, you just see me do that actually. And then put that on there, and I've just seen that some of the I haven't poked them all out. They sort of all fell out, and I thought, oh, bargain. There we go. So I'm just going to put glue around the flat bit. Love these dies. Just love, love, love them. There we go. Stick that there. So that's the cover done. Really like the way that looks. And that's the back of the cover, which I like. So now we just need to add the photo mats for the inside. So I've cut the photo mats. I've done them slightly different than the others because obviously all my pockets are the same. So I've cut 4 mats that are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, so they will hold a full 6 by 4 photo. And the ones in the middle here, I've cut them so they're the size of A6. So basically I cut down an A4 sheet into quarters. You only need 3 of them. So these measure 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. They could be a little bit bigger, but I just thought of, you know, saving some cardstock. Now some of the strips then that I've cut off, I'm going to cut 3 of these. It's not quite wide enough, but it will work. 3 of these tabs, so that we've got something to pull out. Trying to make the edges even. Oh, I'd left some card in there, that's why it wasn't going. I was like, have I suddenly gone a week? Because I couldn't do it. There we go. So 3 of those. This is retiring as well, which for a scrapbooker that's a bit gutting, but I mean I won't be getting rid of it. I'll still be using it, and I've got the elusive rounded tab punch as well that people pay a fortune for. So I'm going to stick these down, and I'm kind of wanting them all to be stuck in the same place so that the tabs are all even. So the way I did that was stuck my first one down and then used that as a guide for all the others. So go about there. Managed to make a bit of a sticky mess there, but it will come off. Come off with my lovely adhesive rubber. So I'm going to turn it around that way. So this needs to stick down there. Managed to get glue on there as well. Not doing very well today. Do you have one of those days? I seem to have them every day. That I get glue everywhere. What am I like? What am I like? So stick that on top there. Not literally, Jazz. Line that up. And fold it over. So these won't take quite a full photo mat, but they'll be good enough. Now, my eraser rubber is on my desk, so I shall do that afterwards. So these will now slip in. And they pull in and out really easily, because the others that I cut for the other one, I've probably cut them slightly too big so they don't go in and out with ease. Just even up those tabs. And then it's any decoration that you want to add. Obviously on the other one I've added butterflies that I cut from the paper, so that they matched, and I've put some edging on these pockets and on the photo mat, so that can happen. So I think white edgings down each of these would look nice, and then just something down these, the same sort of edging in the colours in the paper. That would look nice. So for that I used another punch that's retiring. Can't believe all my lovely pretties that are retiring. So this is this lovely sort of lacy border punch. So I've got quite a lot of scraps. So I just need 4 strips. Now if you've never seen this, you punch it, and then on the punch you've got the pattern there, so you match up what you've just punched out with the pattern, so that when you punch again it's just one continuous, and then you've got 3, and then you cut out another 3, so you count that, the 4th one if you like, and match that one up, and that cuts out there. So again you're looking for the last 3 and matching it up, and then punch, not quite long enough, and so then on this side you just match it up there, 1 2 3, put that one there, and that's that. Slightly sometimes you don't quite have it in place, but you just get these little things that will just break off. You do end up with quite a bit of confetti with it, but I just scrape them down and throw them in my bin and generally miss, and it goes over the floor. So that little strip can just go down there like that, and I might pick out the terracotta tile to go in there, or the pinky one. This pinky one might look nice, actually. I always forget about this colour. It reminds me of the sweet sugar plum. So I'll get those all cut out and stuck down. So I've stuck down these on 3 pages, and I just kind of show you how I did it on this last one. So to line this one up, I'm using my grid mat. I'm going 4 squares that way, which is actually an inch, and so then I'm going to line this up on that bold line there, so that I know that they're all in the same place and that this is straight, which is probably more important. So I'm just putting a little bead of Tombow all the way along there. I don't bother with the rest of the lacey bits, I just do it in that sort of straight line there, and that's generally enough. I've never known that not be enough. So lining it up, I've made it slightly longer than I want. There we go. So that I can turn it round on the other side and snip the edges so that they are flush. And because this cut, when you cut cardstock, you have a good edge and a not so good edge. So because we're going to end up seeing both sides of these, on the not so good edge, just go around with a bond folder to sort of flatten it down a bit, and then it's a bit better. And then for this one, it's exactly the same. Again, this is cut so that it overlaps to make it much better when it's... You could stick these on that pocket before you stick it down, which I thought about afterwards. So let's just get lined up there to the edge of the pocket. Just gives it a nice finish, I think. And then we can open the page up and we can snip from the back side. That off. Where did that end bit go? There it is. It's got a bit of glue on, so I don't actually want it falling anywhere that I don't want it to be. And then on this side, snip it off there, and that's them all done. And you can go and you can decorate it as much as you like. So if you were giving this as a present, you might want to add some other bits. I added a butterfly to each one of these cards, just so that they looked pretty. But I think the style of this paper, that's enough. I don't think it needs anything else. And the intention is that these are going to get covered anyway in photos or journaling. And again there. And as I was filling this, I would probably add words and things down these edges. But normally inspiration comes as I decorate. So I'm just going to even up these tabs so that they are in the same place. So they look nice and even there. And then tie my bow. And that's it. So a nice little album, quite quick. It's not massive, so easy to fill. I think I'd much rather have lots of little albums than big ones. You've got room there for it to grow a bit. So that's me 2 versions. So great way if you've got beautiful paper that you like and you want to make something for yourself that you'll keep for a long time. This is the perfect thing to do because you probably spend lots of time looking through photos. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Sorry if it's a bit long, but these things take time. And all the details will be on my blog. There'll be a link down below to that. Please like and subscribe. I've done a little playlist with all my mini albums and journals, so you'll be able to find them all. Done them all in different sizes. And don't forget to press the bell and you'll be notified when I upload my videos. Thank you again. Please stay safe. Please join me again for my next video. Bye.